As a kid, I was always fascinated by marine life and everything in the ocean. I wanted to experience and live a day in the life of a scuba diver, but being born and brought up in the middle of Nigeria simply means those areas were not available on my server. But that did not stop me from watching every single documentary and reading every book I could find about marine life though. Now, during my years of study, I have discovered that marine life is way different from that of the surface world. Majority of these creatures have evolved special ability to help them navigate and survive in the ocean. Now, with the professional knowledge I have acquired from this study across the internet and media, here are a few superpowers that can be found in marine life, and I'll be ranking from the obvious to the really special. Number 1. Electric navigation and hunting. While it is general knowledge that sharks can detect prey even in pitch black environments and under sand, have you ever asked yourself how they actually do it? You see, every living thing gives off weak electric signals because of their heartbeats and muscle movements. And sharks have these special jelly-filled pores on their snout that can help them detect these signals. So the shark can quite literally feel the presence of its prey through the signal it gives off. It's like a thermal vision goggle, but for electric signals. This also works as a navigation system because the Earth has a natural magnetic field and the ocean currents interact with it to create like electric signals. The shark can detect these signals and use them like a built-in GPS to migrate across vast distances. So yes, sharks have built-in Google Map. Also worth mentioning is the ghost knife fish. These particular creatures generate a weak electric field around their bodies to navigate in dark waters. They detect objects and prey based on how the electric field is distorted by the movement of the object or the prey. It's literally a radar system. Tell me why a fish has a radar system. Moving on to the next are creatures that can generate their own light. You see, the bottom of the ocean is a really dark place because sunlight cannot penetrate that deep into the sea. And if you know anything about scarcity and demand, then you'd know that inhabitants of such depths will be drawn to any source of light they can find. Now, some of these marine creatures have evolved to generate their own light in order to attract prey or distract predators. The most popular of them being the anglerfish. I remember discovering this bad boy in Finding Nemo. This particular fish possesses a lure that glows. This attracts prey right into its line of sight to get snapped because the only thing better than going to hunt prey is for the prey to come right into your palm. Other bioluminescent creatures include the lanternfish. This one has a tiny light producing organ along its body to blend into the ocean. Dragonfish. This particular one can emit a red and blue light to spot prey and stay hidden. Hatchet fish. This particular fish uses light on its belly to match the sunlight from above, making it practically invisible to predators. There's also the flashlight fish, which has a glowing patch under its eye to communicate and hunt at night. Imagine having a flashlight for eyes, bro. There's also the firefly squid, the Hawaiian bucktail squid, the vampire squid, jellyfish, and other soft-bodied creatures that can produce and glow in different occasions. Moving on, we have shape-shifting and camouflage. It's one thing to hide in the grass and bushes to stalk prey, as we see on land. It's another thing to completely change your color and texture to match any background you find yourself. Now, this particular ability was unlocked by the mimic octopus after countless years of trial and error. This allows it to mimic or copy the color and texture of its surrounding to completely blend in. Now, this is bad news for the predators and good news for the octopus because it can easily disappear into its surrounding while invading predators and can easily pop out of nowhere to snag unsuspecting prey. But how does this work though? You see, octopuses have special color changing cells in their skin. These cells contain different pigments, and by expanding or contracting them, the octopus can instantly change or shift to match the color of its surrounding. Now, underneath their skin, they have a muscle control structure that can make their skin bumpy, spiky, or smooth to resemble coral, rocks, or sand. Now, if you've ever heard of an octopus, then you know these creatures are probably the most versatile animals on the planet. Equip them with something as powerful as camouflage, and then you've gotten yourself an animal equivalent of Loki. This octopus can copy the shape and even behavior of some of the most dangerous animals in the sea just to scare off predators. Some of the most famous disguises include the lionfish. It does this by spreading its arm to mimic the spiny, venomous fins of a lionfish, and every predator knows better than to mess with the lionfish. More about them later. They can also mimic the behavior of a sea snake by tucking its arm into its body and extend two tentacles forward and backward. It looks like a striped sea snake. They also copy the movement of a flounder by flattening its body and swimming like a flounder to avoid being spotted. Fun fact, these creatures don't even have a backbone, so they can easily squeeze into tight spaces, making their mimicry even more convincing. Their intelligence and flexibility make them the perfect underwater character to represent Loki. Now, a honorable mention on the list would be the glass squid. They are nearly transparent, so that makes them kind of invisible to prey and predators alike. Now, running from predators is cool and all, but not everyone has the energy to do that. So, some chill guys in the ocean have come out with a perfect way to survive no matter what happens. Take the starfish for example. They can regenerate lost arms and can even regrow their entire body from that single arm. Remember Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants? Yes, that guy is practically immortal. As a matter of fact, this has been explored in one of the SpongeBob SquarePants episodes whereby Patrick learns how to do the karate chop and starts to chop everything in his path uncontrollably. It seemed like the arm had grew a mind of its own. The only solution Patrick could think of was to chop off his own arm and further explain to SpongeBob that he was a starfish so he could easily regenerate the arm. But what he did not account for though was that the arm was also going to regenerate a new Patrick and resumed its rampage. So yes, this is a thing that starfish are capable of. Another immortal creature on our list is the immortal jellyfish. As the name suggests, they can revert back to their juvenile form after reaching adulthood, effectively avoiding death and theoretically living forever. Imagine being so OP that you can just hit the restart button whenever you feel like it. Now personally though, I don't like the idea of living forever, but it's a cool ability nonetheless. The next ability on our list is super strength. While this is a fairly common ability in the animal kingdom, found in like ants, beetle and all the rest, they have nothing similar to this particular creature we're about to discuss, which is the mantis shrimp. You've probably seen a clip of it on the internet at one point or the other, but if you haven't, you're in luck, because this small critter can punch at 80 kilometers per hour or 50 miles per hour, which is faster than the human eye can blink, with a force equivalent to that of a bullet, up to 10,000 G force of acceleration and 1,500 newtons of force. This creates cavitation bubbles and can instantly kill a prey that's unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of that punch. When the mantis shrimp punch, it moves so fast that it causes the water around it to boil, creating a second shock wave that adds extra damage to the punch. If the first was not enough to kill you, the second definitely will. These guys are basically the Saitama of the ocean. It's also worth mentioning that these tiny critters have 16 color receptors on each eye, making it possible for them to see different color wavelengths. The human eye only contains 3 color receptors. Not only do they have the most powerful punch in the animal kingdom, they also have the most complex eye setup in the animal kingdom. Now going higher on our list, we have the chemical warfare. A lot of venomous and poisonous creatures on land, but even more abundant are the creatures in the ocean. So allow me to introduce the blue ring octopus. Yes, another octopus made it to our list. But you see, this guy is different. This octopus is the most venomous octopus on the planet. As a matter of fact, it is the most venomous creature on the planet. And it produces a toxin that is 1,000 times more powerful than cyanide. The venom blocks the nerves signal, causing paralysis and death within minutes, and it has no known antidote. Personally, I don't see a reason why any creature should have this much power, but we listen, we don't judge, right? Second on our list is the lionfish. Yes, we are finally addressing it. You see, there's a reason it's called the lionfish. It has 18 long needle-like spines around its body that closely resemble that of a lion's mane. But that's not the only reason though. You see, these spines contain a venom that is made up of some protein that affect the nerve cell, causing excruciating pain, swelling and even paralysis in some severe cases. Now, this is very, very dangerous for some fish because being immobilized for any amount of time means you're just a sitting duck, or should I say a lying duck, for other predators to come and snag. They are also an invasive species because, let's be real, nothing that survived trying to eat it the first time is going to try to eat it again. As a matter of fact, you will probably be teaching the next generation how to avoid this fish if you ever come across it. Now, the next ability on our list is electricity generation. You see, on the surface, this is cool, but weaponizing it though is a different ballgame entirely. Electric eels are fascinating creatures known for their ability to generate electric shock. Despite its name, they are not even true eels. What they are a type of knife fish found in the Amazon and some other region of South America. So why did nature equip an overgrown worm with a comic book ability? I don't know. But do they know how to utilize it? Yes. Yes, they absolutely can. You see, electric eels use a high voltage shock to stun and paralyze their prey, making it easier for them to capture. This shock overwhelms the nervous system of small fish and animals, causing involuntary muscle contraction or rendering them unable to move. Now, if you've ever experienced an electric shock, then you definitely know what this feels like. You see, my main beef lies in the fact that they can spam this attack by doing something called the double pulse trick to fish out hidden prey. When threatened by predators like caimans or large fish, electric eel can release its strongest shock, which is from 600 to 800 volts, to scare off or even injure the attacker. In extreme cases, eels have been observed to jump out of the water to press their body against predators, shocking them directly. How did they even discover they could do this? I don't know. But aside from offense and defense, they also use it for navigation. Since the electric eel live in dark, murky waters, they rely on low voltage electric field to sense their environment. They emit electric pulse to detect obstacles, other animals, or even communicate with other eels. This works like an electric radar or electrolocation, helping them see in total darkness. Another radar user on this server. You see, it's a really broken ability. My last ability on the list is pressure resistance. You see, this ability does not seem like much on the surface, but I can show you why it's at the top of this list. The Mariana snailfish lives at a depth of over 8,000 meters below the surface, and at such depths, the pressure can be around 8,000 atmosphere or 8 million pascals, which is around 8,000 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. Now, for context, this is the equivalent of an elephant balancing on an area as small as that of a stamp. Multiply that by the area of stamps that can cover your body and you start to see the problem here. To paint an even clearer picture, if you can imagine the Empire State Building pressing down on a human-sized area, that's roughly what the pressure at 8,000 meters feels like. Yet, this fish and other smaller creatures have evolved to live there. This is an actual superpower, like it or not. Honorable mentions include the archer fish. They can shoot jet streams of water to hit insects on branches close to the riverbed, and then when the insects fall into the water, they become food for it to eat. So basically, it's hunting on the surface for its own food. The more I think about this, the more I feel like this fish should have made it higher on the list, or have a dedicated slot somewhere on the list. But let's leave that for the next video. Also, there's the flying fish. This particular fish can dive up to 200 meters above the water when running from predators or like trying to prevent being captured. But you see, personally, I don't know where nature draws the line between birds and fishes, but imagine having to explain to someone that that animal you can clearly see gliding is not a bird, rather a fish. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a flying fish. Thank you for watching.